Hello again everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am sharing something with you, a little project, and I'll show you a picture of it in a minute. I haven't made it yet right this second, but when you get to see it I'll have made it. The reason for it is that I was sat crafting yesterday afternoon, the sun was shining and the light was coming through the window. It must have been hitting something and being refracted, but on my glass mat I had a beautiful rainbow and I couldn't take a picture of it easily because I was in the middle of something, but it gave me an idea. What I wanted to do today was craft with rainbows because, you know, it's a bit of a miserable time. We're in lockdown. Goodness only knows what's going to happen about Christmas. So I thought I wanted something a little bit bright and cheerful, and I thought I would create something with some rainbow coloured papers. So I'll leave a link in my description box to the Etsy store where I bought this paper to download. It wasn't very expensive. It was under £2. Could have been what, I can't remember how much it was, £1.60, and I meant to look up the shop and I've already forgotten who it is. So, but I bought a pack and I have downloaded and printed out some of them. So I've got 2 of these on paper. All I've done is trimmed 2 sides where the printer doesn't go right to the top, because I'm going to measure those and use those. So I've got those 2. I've printed some on card as well because you'll see why in a minute or in a while. So this one I've done double-sided because I want 2-sided, and this one is just single-sided but it's little dots, and this one I wasn't sure what I was going to use, so I've just done a selection of all 4 of them so I can pick and choose what I want to use for those. So what are we making, I hear you cry? We're going to be making something with an envelope. Now I can tell you the measurements and things for my envelope, but if you've got an envelope that's different to mine, it will obviously be different. This envelope came from Tesco. It is, it's called a C5 envelope, I think, which is for A5 to go in. A5 is half of A4. A4 is our standard paper size in Europe. I think it is similar but not the same as letter size in America. But this envelope is about just under 6 inches by about 8.5 inches, something like that in size. Doesn't matter what you use. I saw a tutorial for this, I think it was Angela Kerr who did something similar. I'm not sure, but hers had, instead of having a flap at the top, hers had a flap at the side. Use what you've got and go with what you've got, okay? And I will show some pictures now. I will break this, show some pictures of what we're aiming at, so you know whether or not you want to watch the rest of the video, because I don't know about you, I don't like not being shown what what the video is about, because you might want to invest half an hour watching something to find at the end it's something you're not interested in. So I'll show you now what it is I'm planning to make. If you're interested, stick around and you can have a go at making one yourself. Okay, so if you liked those pictures and you're interested in making something similar, let us begin. So I'm starting with this. Now I've made a few of these in Christmas style for giving away and things. So in order, I'm going to do it in the same way so I know my measurements and I will tell you them as I go along. I don't think there's much point in putting them in the description box because every envelope could be slightly different and you might fold it in a different way as well. So what I want is a flap down this right hand side. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm using my small scoreboard and I'm scoring mine at 1 5/8. So I'm just going to make sure it's sort of flat up against the side. 1 5/8, scoring that. I think that's all the scoring we do. And I'm going to turn it back over. just make sure, even though I've scored it, just make sure that it lies square at both sides, because you don't want it to look a bit skew-if. Okay, give it a burnish. And now I'm just going to take this side and fold it to the top. And again, I'm just going to make sure that it is, oops, she says, doesn't want to go square at the top. Something like that. Doesn't really matter, you don't have to be too fussy about it. Okie doke. You can make it vintage style, any style you like. Right, we're going to be cutting things, panels to go in here. Now, if you're using, for my example, if you're using a piece of paper like this, where the pattern, it's not like a regular pattern, there's a pattern that you want to keep. So bear in mind what you're cutting. If this is your inside, this needs to be a small panel, and then you've got your two larger panels. Or if it was for the what's going to be the front, and you wanted it like this or whatever, you'd want a small panel, a larger panel, a larger panel, so that they look nice. You don't want this half a deer. Imagine if you cut its head off like that, and you've got its head sticking out, I don't know, over here, with its bottom over here. I mean, that's going to look a bit weird. So bear in mind how you want your paper. It doesn't matter if you're using paper like this, because there is no, you know, the pattern goes right the way across, if you get my drift. So that's the only thing to bear in mind. Where are you going to cut? If it's for the front side, you've got a 3, mine's going to be 3.8, 9 and 9. And if it's for the inside, it would be 9, 9, 3.8, like that. But I'm not using that paper because I'm using my rainbows here. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this down to size. Now I have somewhere, which I've temporarily lost, but I will locate shortly. I've got a template for this bit here, only because I've made quite a few of these. But you're going to need a piece of paper that will go along there, and you'll be able to cut that from the same piece of paper that you've used here, if you see what I mean. Now I've used A4 paper and it works fine for me. You can use 12 by 12. You'd have some wastage, or you can use it for the parts of it. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. But for me, I don't know which way, I think I'll have that on the inside there. So this only needs to be 14.5 centimetres in depth, and on the back, or the front, it will be, this one needs to be from there to there, which is I think 15.8 for me, but you will have to measure your own envelope in case it's different to mine. Okay, so I'm going to cut mine to size. So I shall cut this one at 15.8. I will cut a panel 3.8, and then 2 panels which are 9 centimetres, and then on this side I will cut it at 14.5, and then I will have a panel which is 9 centimetres, 9 centimetres and 3.8 centimetres, and I will cut out this bit here. You only have to worry about this bit here, and you'll be able to get that from the top of this piece of paper. You can just stick it on and cut around it, or you can use a template, whatever you like, but you're going to be covering this flap as well in this paper here. All right, I'll be back in a tick. Okay folks, right, this is the waste that I've got left, which is these two pieces and these two. Don't throw them away, we're going to be using them, or we may be using them. All right, let's put those to one side. I found my template, but you really don't need one. You can just stick that straight onto there like that, and then just cut around it. I am just actually thinking about this. Let's just have a quick look, because I want that like that. Does it make a difference? Can you see what I'm doing? Does it make a difference? You're not going to see it anyway, so it doesn't matter. So say whether or not I lined it up, whether or not it was misaligned, I don't think it's really going to matter. Let's see. Do you know what? I'm just not going to worry about it. Life is too short. I'm just going to cut this off. It's only because I have got a regular pattern now. If you don't have a regular pattern, then it doesn't matter. So just going to snip that bit, snip this bit, and I will just round the corner a little bit, there and there. You don't need a template, as I said. You could just stick it on. And oh, before we stick, yeah, let's think about this. Right, if I'm doing a vintage one, I would go around the edges in oh, I forgot to put my phone on silent, and I seem to have quite a few messages from Kaj actually, so I'll be with you in a minute, Kaj. So I think what kind of colour would I use on that? I'd use frayed burlap or something for a vintage one, but I think, look, we're looking at rainbows, so I don't want anything too sort of red and in your face, or blue. Maybe some yellow. Should we go yellow? Let's do that. Let me find my yellow. Oh, it's always on the last one. There we go. Squeeze lemonade. Let's try that. Okay, so we're going to do two things. We're going to go round this, and we're going to go round our things that we've cut out. So I'm going to make a mess on here and not worry about it, and I'll clean it up. So I'm just going to go round the edge. This is just so that you don't see the white. If you like the white and you want a white edge around things, that's fine. And in fact, it probably wouldn't matter with this one at all, because you know, the paper's got white in it and it's quite a modern sort of paper. But if you're doing a vintage one and you've got a white envelope, personally I'm not that keen on that look, so I tend to make sure that I cover it with some frayed burlap. I'm just going to go up the edge a little bit. It doesn't matter, I'm going to go along the top here. It doesn't matter that I'm going to go onto the envelope inside, because we're not going to see it, so it won't matter at all. So I'm just going to go all around here and down the creases. I mean, you could colour this with a crayon or a pencil crayon, or you could leave it white. You could use your inks like I'm doing. You could use something like watercolour, but I think you'll find that it you don't want too much water on these envelopes. I'm just going to do down the side there, and then I'm going to fold the flap and do this side. Perhaps could have done this one. All you're doing is sort of giving some colour to all the edges that you will see around the edge of the paper. I'm fancying doing bright colours today, because sometimes we all need a bit of a rainbow. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing around the outside, and then just where the folds are as well. And I'm not doing anything special or anything fancy. I don't care whether it's blended well. Some bits are darker than others. No one is going to see it. Or if they are, and they're that picky, well, they don't deserve your product, I don't think. Right, let's clean that mess up. There's some water somewhere. Here we are. I need some more water in there. Come on, squeeze out. There, that'll be better. Not that it really matters. I'm going to put, going to go around the edges anyway. Right, so that's my next job. I'm going around all the edge. Oops, take the lid off. All the edges, just so that we don't see too much of the white stuff. Again, I'm not going to be too fussy, and it doesn't really matter so much on this kind of paper. In fact, it might have looked better left, I don't know. We won't know now because I've done it. But because all the other ones I made were vintage, I definitely went round all the edges, got rid of the white. It was nice to see the sun yesterday. In fact, the sun's shining now. I've had to shut it out. I hate doing that. Complain that we never have enough light, and then as soon as the sun comes out, I complain that I've got too much light. I guess that's what makes us British. Would it be boring if every day was sunny? I don't know. I think we wouldn't appreciate it as much if every day was the same. Right, there we go. That's done. So those are all our bits. Let's get the envelope back. I'm going to start with this flap here. I'm using Yoo-Hoo, even though it looks like I'm using 3-in-1, I'm not. But I have finally found a delivery system for my Yoo-Hoo, because my other one's fine, the little one, but it's okay for small things, it's perfect. But if you've got large areas of glue to cover, it just takes too long. The glue dries before you get to the end of it. So I've used an old Beacon 3-in-1 pot for that. Okay, so I'm covering I shouldn't really use that. I did have a card. There we go. Alright, not going to worry too much about it. Just covering the flap. And then mine's self-adhesive. If yours isn't, you could pop a bit of glue on it. But I'm just taking that away and poking that inside. In you go. Like that. And just fold it down. But that is essentially it. What I am going to do with mine is these little bits here, just a bit, they get in the way a bit, so I'm just going to give them a bit of a snip. That way and that way. You don't have to do this, it's just my personal choices. It's just a little bit annoying. So that's fine like that. Right, well let's do the inside. So my inside are the shorter pieces, which are these. And I think actually they went that way up with the red at the top, if I remember, but it doesn't really matter. And we're just sticking those in place in there a little bit. Leave a little gap all the way around, especially where you're going to be folding it. But that's all you do to cover it. Alright, so do you want to stay with me while I do it, or shall I turn it off and come back when I'm done? I'm an old hand at this now, I'm quite quick. I've done so many of them. I reckon I shan't keep you very long. There we go. I guess you could use any glue here. You could probably do it with Pritt Stick because the paper's not, well, the paper I'm using isn't very thick, so slightly thicker than normal copy paper, but you could use normal copy paper, it wouldn't matter. Right, so that's the oopsie. That's the inside covered. Oh, it very nearly will be. So we've got a pocket there. This is going to fold over when we're done. But I'm just going to do the front, or what will be the front. That's right, just make sure you get your things in the right order, especially if you've got a pattern on them, like the deer or something. You don't want its head in the wrong place. Or maybe you do. Maybe you want a mix-up animal. I remember my kids having a book that had animals, sort of cartoon animals, I guess, like 3 of them, not 3 of them, across a page. The page would be sectioned into 3, and it was ring bound, and you could flip each section and make a weird animal with a different head, a different middle, and a different bottom. They had good fun with that, but obviously that was years ago. I bet they can't even remember. Okay, just line it up as best you can, but I'm not going to be too fussy about it. And the last piece. So my large panels here are 9 centimetres by 15.8, and the smaller one was 3.8 by 15.8. On the other side they were 9 by 14.5, and then 3.8 by 14.5. Right, that is essentially the little pocket, and you can do what you like with that. Okay, I'm just going to fold that in, make sure it does fold. Like that, and then like that. And you can let it dry under something, a heavy book or something. I'm going to get on and do some pockets to go on here so that I could put some tags and things in, and I've going to do some little pockets down here which I will talk to you about. Is that actually, could perhaps do with a little bit of glue down there. I'm just going to slip my little yoo-hoo down there, because in the rush I have not really glued that terribly well. Anyway, I don't think it's going to drop off, so, but you could spend a couple more minutes sorting that out. There you go, so that's your pocket. So the next thing I need to do is make, I'm going to make for mine, you don't have to do it the same, you can do yours any how you like, depends what you're thinking of putting in it. I'm going to have a smaller pocket over here and a slightly larger pocket over here, and then we'll talk about what I'm going to do with the flap in a minute. So let me just have a tidy up and get some measurements and be back. Okay guys, I am being a little bit sneaky here. I'm going to add in a hidden giveaway. I'm doing it like this because I would like people, regular viewers of my channel, to receive the giveaway, not just people who come along because they see the word giveaway. Please don't mention the word giveaway in the comments at all. In order to win, you need to be a subscriber of mine. You need to comment in the comment section and mention something in the comments about the little stamps that I've made. Okay, I've made a few of them. You'll see them at the end or during the thing. Just mention in the comments something about the stamps. Please don't mention anything to do with a giveaway or anything, or prize or anything like that. Otherwise you'll forfeit your entry, I'm afraid. So for anybody who's interested in winning the rainbow folder that we're making, all you need to do is put in the comments something secretive so nobody knows, disguise it well, about the little stamps, and I will pull a winner out of the hat on Friday, sometime on Friday. So you've got until midnight UK time on Thursday to put your comment in. Okay, thank you. Right, I've cut some paper, or card actually. This is 300 GSM card. These are going to make pockets. Depending on what you put in the pockets and things, you may want to make them out of paper, you may want to make them out of card. Personally, I prefer card when I'm doing sort of lost my bone folder, or my little one that comes with this. Here we go. So I'm going to use my score. So what I have done is I have measured this distance here, which is I think 3.5 inches. I hate the way that the scoreboard is in inches and the rest of the world uses centimetres. I literally don't understand why. I mean, it's got centimetres at the bottom, but they don't meet up with any of the score things. Ridiculous. So, you know, come on guys, crafters, European crafters, get some boards that have proper centimetres instead of all this inches stuff. We're well past that. But since everything is in inches still for crafting boards, I'm going to have to carry on and work with it. So that's 3.5 inches. And I want to make my first pocket, this little one over here, that's 3.5 inches. And I want to make it, I think, about 1.5 inches high. So I've added an inch either side. The reason is I'm going to score at 1/2 inch on every side and fold those under. So I'm just going to butt up against here. I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Oh, not even that, she says. This is me, not very good at using a scoreboard. But it does annoy me that everything's in inches because nobody uses them. Well, virtually nobody uses them. Right, so we've got something like this. You can fold them if you wish. Hopefully this will be the right size because it isn't the measurements that I used before. Let's just double check. Yes, that'll be fine. Right, so what am I going to do with this? I'm going to fold the top down, so that can be the top. And I'm going to miter. I'm trying to do it. Let me just see if I can get the camera to focus here. Hopefully I'm doing that. So I'm just going to miter this bit here to there and maybe just a tiny bit there and the same over here to the corner. Oops, and slightly like that. And then this bit here will be glued down and that will be the top of the pocket. It just gives it a little bit of extra strength. And I'm going to do similar to the bottom. I'm going to cut out the corner because we don't need it with a slight miter, if that's the right word. It's the word I'm using anyway. And then those will glue, those flaps will glue like that to make your pocket. So let us stick some glue on this top flap here. And I might have to use a proper bone folder because my card is quite thick. Right, that will do for that one. And then we're going to glue that on and stick that on over there. Similarly for the middle one, same width. So that's, I think I said 4.5. I've done it an inch taller, the pocket. So it'll be 2.5 inches tall. I forgot to say, it doesn't matter, I've left the white edge on, it doesn't matter because I am going to fold that under. So there's no point wasting that extra bit. So again, we are scoring at 1/2 inch all the way around. Now if your envelope is different, your pocket size will be different and you will have to, you know, work out for yourself what measurements you need. Same again, I'm just going to cut these little bits off. One flap will become the folded bit at the top that you're going to fold over to give strength to it, and one and the sides will be part of the pocket, just to make sure that you can put things in the pocket. It's not too flush with the background. I don't need that anymore. So let's glue that one down. Yeah. Now you can do two things here. Let's just put that like that. I shall probably measure mine and put a thumb, I don't know why I'm doing it over there, let's come back, put a thumb hole type thing in this one, which, let me find a punch. That could be too big. Oh, excuse the dustbin men, they've come to empty my recycling bin. Let's measure half of this and then decide what we're doing. So that is about 9 centimetres, so we want something 4.5, so like that. And I'm just going to open my punch. I'm not sure if this is going to be too wide or not, hopefully not. And just line it up, cut your little bit out if you can. Might have to turn it over. Oh, it's not going to go. Hang on a minute, folks. There we go. That was quite, I mean, that's 2 pieces of 300 GSM paper that is also glued. So I don't think my machine particularly wanted to do that. Right, I'm going to leave this one flat, doesn't need anything now. We can just glue them as they are, or we could go round with some yellow if we wanted to. Do you know what? I think I might not. I think I might just leave them as they are. I think it looks neater like that for this, but it's up to you. If these were vintage and if I was doing a vintage one and these were white, I would probably go around it with frayed burlap, but I think I will just leave that. So, time to glue them down. Glue on the bottom one. I'm thinking I perhaps could have burnished these a bit better because I can feel resistance there, but never mind. Resistance is futile when you've got a bone folder. Let's pop that in there like that. I'm putting that down to the bottom, and I'm going to, oh, yes, I have just put a large blob of glue on there. Let's see if I can do better with this. There we go. Hopefully that will just come off. If not, we'll be sticking an embellishment. And that one will go on there, just the same. Glue along the bottom and the sides. And then hopefully something like that. I will try not to put my hands on it because I am covered in glue. There's a surprise. Right, so now we've got pockets like that. Now it's up to you. If you wanted to make that, I should have said before we did this, if you wanted to make that into like a tuck spot, you could have just glued this bit down and had that as a tuck spot and not use this as a pocket. I'm going to put some little tiny pockets on here and put some little stamps in here. That's what I'm going to do. But you need to think when you're making yours, what am I going to use it for? Because if you're using it, you know, just to tuck things in or to give embellishments, you might want to make it, you know, you might want to fold it into into equal parts, into thirds. I'd already got in mind for here a place to put some little stamps I'm going to make, but you know, if you don't want to do that, you can change your design, obviously. So that's the basics of it. I'm now going to decorate it and perhaps make a big tag to go in there, maybe a bookmark, and some little tags or something like that. I'm going to have to get rid of the glue that I have managed to get stuck on there as well. But yeah, there's your basic pocket. All right, and I'm going to get some bits and show you mine with some extra things inside. Okay, so I'm back again. I've spent the afternoon decorating this. We've lost the natural light, I'm afraid, so I'm going to have to film with a light on, which I don't like doing. But for the sake of getting this video up, I will do that. So yes, I've decorated it. I've made a belly band. Create your own rainbow every day. So if we slip that off, you will see when it opens, I have put a few things in. In this side here, that's the back of a bookmark, a lovely flower from Little Snippets 1. So there's a bookmark. Put that in there. Right at the back here is a larger tag with a green butterfly. Obviously you can decorate yours however you wish, but I was just using up the papers that I had printed out. In this side we've got a medium-sized tag with a beautiful flower from Little Snippets 1 as well. Didn't want to use them, but there's no point keeping things if you don't use them. Nobody gets to see them. And an ATC sized card, just with a paper flower on it. And over here we've got a smaller tag. I can't remember what that is, but I have dyed it with some distress ink. I forgot what you call it, but it's like gauze. Maybe it is gauze. Who knows? Tag and a tiny it was an ATC size, and I just chopped the bottom off so it fits in there a little bit nicer. And then over here we've got 4 pockets on this side, 4 pockets on that side, and some little stamps that I have made that you could use like this. So they're just in little pockets down that side, which is why I've had that little flat bit there, because I knew I was going to use that for that. So there we go. That's my little crafting with rainbows project. Hope you like it, and if you do, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and if you are subscribed, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Stay safe, enjoy your crafting, and keep well, and I'll be back soon. Bye for now.